This song will be the Kevin Hart special, but the Kevin Hart special again. I'm a fan of Kevin Hart. This is me, Rich Ron. We're talking to you already. And I was waiting for that special to get funny. And I was legit waiting. We were watching it. And I was like, and we had a lot of buffering. We have a lot of fun with the internet. And also has a bit. So it's buffering, buffering, and it took long to load. So it paused it, we went to sleep, and then got up and said, man, I have to watch the rest of this special. Cool. And then when they saw it had like 5 instruments, I said, you didn't watch the entirety of this special. It's like, keep on one bar, saw a joke. I said, man, we watched this entire special, and I really laughed. And again, I'm a huge Kevin Hart fan. So.
Hi, Ashley. Ashley's coming in. She's logged in. Javon Moss, what's going on? What's going on with you, Javon? Happy anniversary. I think that just went with you and your wife, right?
Happy anniversary to you.
Yes. Hi, Taria.
Hola, Cordy.
Yeah, child.
Oh, it's
it was very close.
Trying to adjust the view. You know, technical issues and stuff. So we're going to get started. Yeah, I think
we're good to get started. So, people.
Hi, Renee Davis.
Hey, guys.
On all the reviews.
Renee said they were out to dinner. Oh, I'm not out to dinner because we can't be out right now. Renee, I ain't causing you get drunk.
Sorry, because she told you.
No, Renee was having family dinner, but she said that she was going to be here. So thank you for taking your plate and going in the room and watching the live stream.
Happy anniversary, late anniversary.
Who's that?
This Renee.
Yes.
Who looks almost the exact same.
Yeah, she did. Renee was your secret.
I have to do better on my skin regimen because you look amazing.
Like Renee just cut her hair and that was it. And it was like 25 years later. I was like, wow, sis.
Care age, but you
don't. Just a little bit. Okay, so we're back with another episode of the R and Love podcast where the husband and wife team, Rodney and Nadia, tackle topics like pop culture, parenting, and everything in between. So this season, of course, we shifted and we're doing the Facebook Live now.
Yes.
Where our Facebook family chimes in live during the podcast. We're here, what do you call it, bi-weekly?
5 months. Every other week.
Yes.
Twice a month.
Fortnight, not the game. So we're here every 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. So if you want to join in and share your thoughts, like and follow our page so you don't miss it. Also, if you have any questions you'd like answered during the podcast, shoot us an email, rnlovepodcast@gmail.com.
rnlovepodcast@gmail.com.
Right, so if you missed the live stream, this and past episodes are available on all streaming platforms.
So it's on the Facebook page, on YouTube, and with audio. On any way you get podcast audio, you can get audio on podcast as well. So literally go on Google and just type in R and Love, and then you should be able to pop up.
Hi, Alexandra Rios. That's my good bestie, y'all. Y'all wish y'all had a bestie like that, child. So our topic this week, where it stems from. So, somebody reached out to us, one of our good people from Holy Cross Anglican Church, our home church. So, what's that?
You share it with them?
What's that?
And let me tell them about it.
Who? I didn't share it, Somebody reach out to Holy Cross and tell them that we here. Because they wanted to see this.
It's all about it. I'll never share the flyer.
Yes. Okay, so we were asked by the marriage ministry that we were a part of when we first joined the church a few years ago. And they had asked us, I don't think they had any meetings since the pandemic.
Sure.
And they wanted to do something for their members. Sure. And so they had us present podcast style to their members on oneness in marriage.
Oneness in marriage.
So, you hear the topic and you're like, it's kind of interesting. So let's dive into really what it means, right? And then we dive into it, we deep dive. Who? That's the dealer? Linda, what you saying? Yeah. So we dove into the topic and we found it really interesting. And we actually wanted to continue it today with you guys. So, where does the phrase even come from? The two shall become one. So, let me tell you, when we got married, everybody got to get in the little aisle running. Hi, Randy, hailing up, Charlie, liking.
Chico, we say Chico.
Hi, Chico. So we had the aisle runner at the wedding, and it said, and the two shall become one. And I was like, oh, yes. marrying my babes. Very excited about it. And
you know, that story to tell about it, so not
today, no, because that's a long story.
It's
It's a dramatic story too.
It's fun. It's a fun story.
Yeah, but in any event, we had the runner. Everybody say, make sure the two becomes one, and I want to see in the comments, how or what do you think, the two shall become one means? Anybody want to take a stab at that and tell us what it means?
And thanks, Lisa. Yes, our shirt is done by our sponsor. To each their own. They sponsor us, and they has the shirt as well. But we will take the shirt, but they sponsor us. Yeah. So anything we leave the details in the chat. Yeah. But they're easy to find. They're to each their own 242.com. Teach their own 242.com. I on Facebook. Teach their own. But
so back to my comments. Yes. Can anybody tell me what the two shall become one means? Because to me it just sounded nice. A nice thing to say.
It said a lot of in churches. Everybody's saying it's mathematically doesn't make sense. So it always something that piques interest, and I think a lot of persons are questioning say what it is. The two shall become one. So anybody had any input on the means?
Renee Davies says blending your lives.
Renee.
Let's dive deep into that. What I mean, and so that brings us to the question that we had, right? Because what does it mean to blend your life? What does it mean to take like two different individuals and make them one? So we found that the phrase came from a biblical passage.
That's most things in churches.
Ephesians 5:21-33. And
most things in churches often misquoted.
Yeah, which pretty much gives you the blueprint for the Christian household. First of all, I went through marriage counseling. Nobody told me about Ephesians 5:21-33. So here I am walking blind into this marriage, thinking I didn't know everything because I went to the 14 weeks of classes and we good.
Someone said something goes really going. Even when we were preparing, because Nadia is really awesome in terms of preparing these kind of talks. So she's preparing the talks, and she was like, we can start with the Bible verse and go from the Bible verse. So she keep on saying Ephesians 5:22. Ephesians 5:22. Wise men, I say, babe, there's a verse before that. No, it's not. Yeah, there's always code 5:22. I say, you know what? Let's look at 5:21 just to see how it starts, because I was taught later on that people tend to forget that part. We always start at 5:22 when it comes to reading the thing for church. So when Nods and other research, you found that. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about what the people said.
So Renee says it doesn't mean leaving or neglecting yourself and losing yourself in the marriage. Renee is on the money.
She is.
On the money tonight.
Say hi, Danielle.
Hi, Danielle. Linda says, live for each other and leave your mother and father and become one with your mate. So that is actually in there. So for the persons who aren't saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Ghost and got their memory verses popping like that to your mind.
She's talking about me. Right like I'm not sitting there.
Yeah. So
read the part from 22.
The whole thing?
Just read the part.
Yeah, I was just gonna...
So part you research it, I apologize. So I just ad hoc right now.
Yeah. So the more famous verse is, for this cause shall a man leave his father and mother and become joined unto his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So most people... Chico says...
See, even include the understand.
Yeah, the understand even include you. So what most wives take it for is, don't have your mommy in our business because you left them and come into our marriage.
And most husbands don't let your daddy do all the stuff because you left him come into our marriage.
Chico says it's based on the biblical structure for marriage stated in Genesis 2:24 creations, re-emphasized by Christ in Mark 10:8-10. And by Paul in Ephesians 5.
And we are also Ephesians 5 now.
Yes, okay. So
with extra reading, those are the extra
do your homework. I hope I didn't know this was going to be a Bible study, but here we are. So take down your verses that were dropped in the chat and go read for yourself. But I dropped you one first. Okay? And it's on a Sunday, that's true. So what does that mean?
Yeah.
Renee says it doesn't work quite like that. So in our presentation, like we dove into the whole thing, all the verse and what it says, right? But the part that stood out to us the most is the question that it really poses. Like, so he leaves his mom and dad and come to me and we become one. I am to submit to him. He's to submit to God. Everybody's submitting to everybody. But what does that really mean? So, do you really leave who you are as an individual and totally become one? Like, what does oneness mean? Does that mean that I can't go back to who I was because, like, we're in this new body together, like, in marriage? So, Chico's saying that it means that individuals, the two persons become part of a spiritual union, a holy covenant between a man and a woman in the presence of God, ultimately foreshadowing the union of Christ and His church. Your thoughts?
So I love that, and even to go from the Bible verse. So usually, in how Nads broke it down is that's in Ephesians 5. She said that's the blueprint. It was a question posed in the Bible, that all the answers. So Paul essentially gave them a blueprint on this is how you live and lead and how you become one. And what people oftentimes start with is that Ephesians 5:22, women are to submit unto your husbands, and then men are to love the wives of Christ in the church. But what we found out in 21, and that's how I was taught, is that submit unto each other. So that's the first thing you do, submit unto each other. And then it explains how you submit unto each other. Women submit by submitting to her husband, and a man submits by loving his wife as Christ loved the church. And how does that look? And how we broke it down again. Outside the awesome inside of that. How we broke it down inside a man needs to be a man, a husband we're submitting to.
Yeah.
And then a woman needs to be a wife worth dying for.
Yeah. So
if that should be your standard. And once that's your standard, then you can do everything. That's everything. It's all shit. It's all we can break it down, but it's just a session of it. Man, how's you go?
So essentially with the presentation, what we said was
the steps by step. She literally added step 1, step 2, which is awesome.
Right.
Step 1, 2, to 6.
The path to oneness. And we're gonna get into individuality. So, but to get to achieve oneness, you have to be a man. So it starts with the man. You have to be a man that knows God.
Yes.
That loves yourself.
Yes.
You recognize who you are as an individual. Work. You treat yourself well.
With love.
With love. And you understand how treating others with love is a reflection of how you treat yourself with love. Cool. That's who you are, and you submit to God's plan.
So all this before you even get married. It's just this is the man to help bring this in first.
That's the start. Then, so we say, okay, then the woman is to recognize that she found a man who knows God.
Yes.
Understands who he is as a person.
Yes.
Has the capability of loving.
Yes.
Because, sometimes you get hooked up with some people who don't know how to love, but we think we can fix it. No, don't fool with that girl. So, she sees the man. She understands who he is. He knows how to treat himself and to treat others. Yes. And he is submitted unto God.
Yes.
Y'all two get together. You, as a woman, submit unto him because he is already a person who knows how to submit to God.
Yes.
What else was there?
And then once you do that, then you can ask, because he needs to love you.
Yes.
How he shows he loves you, but how he loves himself, because a man needs to love his wife and take care of his wife as his own flesh.
Yeah.
So once he can show all those things, then you submit to him, and then you guys submit to God, and you guys are under the covering of God. Because the woman's under the covering of the husband is under the covering of God, they're all under the covering of God. And that's all submission.
And that's how all of this needs to happen. And then the last verse is, and then she shows reverence to him.
Yeah.
So,
pretty much you earn respect. It's just not given in turn. And why that's such an awesome, when Nadia really broke it down, why it's such an awesome thing, because we tend to take it for granted. We tend to not really know how it is. All we hear is that women need to listen to husband, women need to listen to husband, but at the same time too, husbands need to do something about to listen to.
Yes.
They can't just be like, you need to submit to your husband, submit to your husband. A lot of problems, one of the questions was, what impact does not being in oneness have on the society? And one of the issues, and just obstacles to oneness.
Yeah.
And one of the obstacles was that, for one, the woman submit to the wrong type of person.
Yeah.
And then two, a man literally trying to die for the wrong type of woman. So those things are imperative. And again, too, when we say that, we're not saying that you need to be this perfect person.
It's not.
Because again, we were together from teenagers. So the Rodney now, the Nadia now is under Nadia and Rodney from high school.
Literally.
But at the same time, too, I can say, and I guess both of me and Nadia can say, we had the structure and the foundation that we were able to build upon. And yes, we went through a lot, and And yes, we grew, and yes, we had that vision for each other. But more importantly, too, we understood the standard that we were trying to uphold. And that was very important. And the next person who broke it down was Miles Monroe. And I wish I knew which sermon it was, but he pretty much used Adam as the barometer, as the standard, the benchmark. So what it was, before Adam even found his wife, Adam had a relationship with God.
Yeah.
Because he's a walking, talking God, and he had his work. His assignment was to be steward of the earth. So he knew God, he knew himself, and he had his work. Then God said, you know what, it's not good for man to be by himself, I'll give him a wife. And that's the thing that's very important. And why it's very important for you to know who you are, too, because you're taking on a whole other person. And if you don't know how to lead yourself and carry yourself, then that means it's going to be unfair for the person you're going to lead and going to carry. And especially when you are include other things in the version.
Listen, so the chat is like, I didn't realize that we had so much experts, right? So Linda says you have to respect each other, love each other, and have communication with each other, and understand love, and tie as one, but put God first in your relationship, and I agree.
Always.
And Chico says individuality remains, but there's oneness in accord. Under God. I'm not saying it right, Chico. English can be hard sometimes. I'm sorry.
It's a beautiful structure, man. Fully understood.
Yeah. Hi, Shanta. So.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, man. I think we are on oneness.
So here's the thing, right? So we understand oneness.
Yes.
Cool.
Everybody.
Let's say we understand those steps and we got there. And I hear putting my hand in this camera like my nails fix. Wow. So, what happens to your individuality now? So, when you met me, I was outgoing. When you met me, I was your, let's say, your cooler. Like, you know, I can bring you down off of the ledge. Like, when you met me, I was this and that. So, we achieved oneness. So does that necessarily mean now that I have to change who I am now that I'm married?
Yeah. The beautiful thing is about, and that's why I always like giving talks and give a presentation, because it causes you to stretch. It causes you to seek information. And it causes you to go to people who are wiser than you. And we were, again, you found T.J. to give a sermon on it in terms of being who you are still in the marriage. And how T.J. created it, he's saying that he is a outgoing person. He likes to be in the midst. His wife is not that. His wife is reserved. His wife likes to be away from the thing. So what he called it visiting. What it is, and it turns sacrifice we get to, what it is that you have to, one, understand who you are, the type of person you are, and two, understand the type of person your spouse is. So what he did is at times it's a give and take. So if he totally say, you know what, the wife doesn't like me to go out, because at the party, so I would totally start going out to the parties now. He is going to grow into this person that he didn't recognize, because that's taking away from something he likes to do. But the inverse of it is true as well. If the wife only goes to the parties with him, she's going to feel uncomfortable and lose a sense of self. So what he said is that we need to visit people where they are. So there got to be some compromise. There has to be some sort of compromise where she goes to some of the parties, and there got to be some compromise where he stays home with her just a little bit more.
So, I mean, for us, Renee says, absolutely not. Like, you do not lose yourself. Andrew says, marriage reveals and enhances who you are to each other.
I love that.
So for us, practical application, right? And again, after 9 years of marriage, I really wish that this was something that was a bigger focus for married people or people who are intentional about getting married or dating, or just dating, because you need to recognize what it is that you're looking for and know what you're looking for before you even get committed to these things. Because these people could be fly traps. So, and then you're stuck. So, individuality is something that's very important, because ultimately, right, you were attracted to me for some reason. Like, it was not just this flawless skin, these big lips, those big doughy eyes. It wasn't just that. It was my personality. There was something about me that you liked. Like, I love the fact that Rodney made me laugh. And then when you get married, you be like, all you want to do is laugh about things. Everything is a big joke to you.
It is a kiki, a kiki is a kiki that. That's very
So what we found ourselves doing early on in our marriage is really, we came upon a lot of conflicts because we kept trying to change for each other, right? And it wasn't working because, number one, you could only change for so long, number one. Number two, I could tell you to change, but then I'm not quite sure what I want you to change into because, I mean, I don't know. Like, this doesn't even feel right because now you're taking away what I was attracted to.
What brought you to the table.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, too.
Hold on, wait. Chico says, my brain just clicked with one of your statements. They never mentioned this during your counseling in a Christian institution. That's a problem. That is the foundation.
Chico, we have a ton of stories of people with conflicting advice from the Christian people, and if we just, I guess, to answer Chico's thing, when we were having fun in our first year of marriage, and we needed to seek some help.
No, don't go there.
Okay,
no.
I remind you of that.
No.
Anyway,
but in any event, yes. I wouldn't say that our marriage counseling wasn't good. You know, we had very good sessions. We got 2 different priests who gave us some very good sessions and some good advice that we still use to this day in our marriage, right? So don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that I wish that this Ephesians 5 was included in the whole package so that I could have had that information as well. So I'm not saying that, you know, I don't read Bible and stuff, but like how people get into Bible study and like certain things that you need to focus on and understand the importance of it, I think that would have been beneficial to us at the time. Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
And then too, if you were to be fair to our priests at the time, 12 to 14 weeks to prepare for a lifetime is never enough time. Yeah. So I think they only, and it was only like an hour, maybe on Wednesday, half an hour on Wednesday. So he did what he can. I think he put so much information in there. It's just not just one of those things, and I thought he had like a huge mind that he couldn't even get to. And then again, the things you receive then aren't the things you receive now because you're in a different space mentally, emotionally, physically.
So let's dive back into individuality, right? So what we were saying before was that you really shouldn't change who you are, lose yourself. There was literally one time I could remember, and like I can call it to this day. We had been invited to a friend's house for vision board party. So shout out to the fallacious the fallacious people.
Beautiful kids, by the way.
Oh my
beautiful
gosh.
Beautiful people. And that's not too many beautiful kids.
So and it's Angela, right?
Who? The mom?
The mom.
Yes.
Angela Palacios was there. She was there as well. Yeah, man, he's nice. Really you kind of walk him though, because he's a speed walker. He was walking off the road.
Because he was singing to pieces.
Oh. It's a thing we didn't do karaoke.
I would have lost it.
Anyway, focus. Okay, so we went there, and at one point, I was talking to Reverend Palacios.
Yes.
The mom, Angela. And I was telling her how I felt about something as we were plotting out the vision board because I felt like a part of my vision was kind of blocked. Yeah. Because it was a powerful night. It changed so much. Mm-hmm. And she said, so is it that you feel like you need to increase so that he can... No, you need to decrease so that he can increase? And it was the first time that like somebody verbalized how I felt. And I said, wow. And she's like, yeah, that's not necessarily what you need to do, and you need to explore that. And so that's why it's really good to be around people. Good people who talk in sense. Good people. I'll appreciate that and remember her for that for the rest of my life.
Oh, sorry.
But honestly, it's something that you need to explore because at the end of the day, who I am as an individual adds value to who we are together as one.
And the thing is, the crazy thing about stuff like that is that you'll be surprised whose advice you're following and what led you to that decision. Because it was never a case where me nor Nadia say, "Bro, you need to change," or "No, you need to change it." It's just that certain things we think are expected. So you subconsciously now going on this path in this way, and then again you lose who you are. Like you look at yourself, saying, "This is not who I am. Like how did I get to this point?" And then when you have to peel it back, you know what? I'm trying to make sure she's happy. Then I asked myself, did she explicitly ask for this? Like, no. She said she wanted something else, but I assumed that she meant this. Or because I saw someone else also do that, I think that's what she wanted. And I said, that's not what it is, because at the end of the day, similarly, you know what, I like to laugh. Case, I don't think this happened, but just as a case in point, I like to laugh, I like to make her laugh. And she says that it's a kiki all the time, so I just stop being happy. But that's not what she meant. She meant this is a serious situation. Take this situation serious. Not stop being happy and being jovial. Just be serious in this situation. And then me thinking in the process, you know, when she just want me to kiki in, is that's what happened. And I think that's the conclusion. But that's the beauty of marriage. And that's the importance of having the right people around you.
Ashanta Gibson says it's easy to become lost in someone. Girl, talk it. She said more, but ooh, talk it. So you must first know who you are and whose you are. Communication is key. Talk, even when there is nothing to talk about. In marriage, you learn something new every day about your spouse. After 18 years of marriage, I'm still learning about my husband.
Yep.
Losing yourself in someone.
That's so beautiful. That's a complex, beautiful thing, man. And it's so profound because what it is, and so this is my story for that. Early on, I've been someone. So some people are just like, y'all been getting 9 years. Other people are like, wow, 9 years? I enjoy every
sweet 9 years.
Every second I'm with her. Even though we've been married for 9 years, I always come to time before marriage. You know, it changed. I always want to change being dating, being married. So I was like, you know what, I need to be this person for her. I need to be this person for her. I need to make sure I'm that person for her. But it got to a point where I was, you know what, she's gonna be straight. I say good. She would be straight. I would be second. She would be straight. I would be second. Make sure she's fine. And it got to a point where I was taking care of myself.
Yes.
Whether it's emotionally, especially emotionally, spiritually, mentally, financially, physically, just wasn't taking care of myself because I was making sure that she's fine. But what that in turn causes that if I can't take care of myself, then I can't take care of her. So I had to search out the answers, and one of the answers I found was that, and the title about Ephesians 5, love God first, then love yourself.
Yeah.
So what would that, and even on such a simplistic line, like when Jesus said, the answer was the greatest commandments, love your God, for your heart, and love your neighbor as you love yourself. What that means that that's the order. You love God, then you love yourself, then you love your neighbor as you love yourself. And what that practically means that, to me, if I'm wrong, that's what it means to me. I need to have such a high level of care and due care and attention for myself. That means God, and that means me, Brandon, and God. And nothing needs to come before me. Because when something comes before me, I'm teaching myself that my level of love is at something that comes before that thing.
Yeah.
That's my level of love. That's how I love myself. Man loves his wife, he loves his flesh. So how I love my flesh is something that comes before my flesh. That means, in turn, how I love my wife is something that comes before my wife. Whether it's work, whether it's civic organizations, whether it's friends, whether it's whatever. Because that's how I show myself love. So I had to unprogram that. And I reprogram myself, say, you know what? God, then Rodney. Nothing, and then everything else come after. And what that turned into, amazingly what that turned into is that nothing came before my wife or my children, but God. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, that to me was such still is a complex thought, because like, if I'm saying nothing comes before my self-love with God, but at the same time I'm loving Nadia the same way, I still didn't understand it. All that means that I only can love Nadia based on how I love myself. So if I love myself in the way that I'm top priority, that means whenever it comes to Nadia, who I love like my flesh, because the two became one, she is top priority.
Because it's like you kind of top up yourself, and then that's how you're able to top up others. So, like, you know, it's almost like you can't pour from an empty cup.
Correct.
Same concept, yeah. Kimberly, hi Kimberly. How you doing? We got an amen from Chico. And you know, if you've been listening before, you gotta work hard to get an amen from Chico.
Yeah, and even the virtue too. So once I discovered self-love, that's where I regained my individuality. That's where I regained to say, okay, this is who Rodney is. These things Rodney likes, these things Rodney doesn't like. And I realized that solved a lot of the issues, because especially with communication, it's going to be tough for me to communicate what's wrong if I don't know what's wrong.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough for me to say, you know what, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, if I don't know that myself. I need to know what makes me happy. I need to know what makes me sad. I didn't know where's my rest spots. I need to know, understand my feelings. So I'm at the same now, I articulate those things. I say, you know what, this is not the time for me. Give me a few minutes, let me just unwind, let me go decompress. I call it unplug, let me just unplug. Because I know the direction I'm going on. So I recognize that. So now I recognize that with her. So when I see a little tense or when I see whatever, I say, you know what, we need some tea, maybe the pronoun says, maybe
It's
the
always tea though.
Tea is how I don't
That's
know.
not English influence. It's always tea.
So because I recognize it with me, I now recognize it with her, and I recognize it with the kids, I say, you know what, just before I get to the situation, and especially Ross, I say, you're getting upset, so before you say something to get yourself in trouble, let's just breathe. And the thing is now, I don't say that anger, I would say that frustration, and even when they're in the state where, you know, they get upset and they snap, I understand because I saw that getting to that point. And because I have that grace with me, I don't have that grace with them.
So let's talk practical applications, and you can drop it in the chat what that means to you, right?
I will come back to that.
Women are not mind readers either, says Ashanta.
Nobody's mind reader. Since Ashanta, since you
Hold on for a second. Rodney is a mind reader. Since you don't talk it, Rodney is a mind reader. Let me tell you how Rodney is a mind reader. We've been together for forever and a day.
She's a powerful evil. Not from good all that.
Rodney is a mind reader. Rodney knows how I think so well that we used to actually test it back in the day. Like, I literally did not have to say anything at all. And down to the food that I wanted to eat, where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do, he already knew it. I just had to look at Rodney with his big eyes. And he already knew it. Here's where it got us in trouble. Mind reading got us in trouble because he got to the point where he's like, okay, I need you to plainly say what it is that you want now. And I'm like, why? Because you already know how to translate my looks. I don't understand why we need to talk now. Talking is so like 2015. What we doing this about? And he's like, no, like it's good for communication. But it was though. I didn't like it because then I had to like find words and stuff. And you know, English can be so Englishy some days. But like honestly, it helped us to improve our communication skills. I'm not saying that we are there yet. Yeah. But what I'm saying is that we're better than we were.
Even that, and why, so I can be very sensitive to energies and how people feel and people think. We spend so much time together, and I enjoy your company, so try to be preemptive. And how that got me self in trouble, because I was shooting in the foot, is that because again, and this is really on trying to be that thing for her, trying to mold myself that I lost what it was, and it's like people change their viewpoints. So how she felt today is not how she felt tomorrow. And the thing is, especially on certain pointed things, it was like I'm trying to guess, I'm trying to assume what she meant prior, but like it changed because circumstances changed,
and I changed.
Perspective changed, or she changed. So it's like for me, it was really confusing because what she wanted in this situation last year is not what she wanted in the situation this year, but it's like me and that. So I got to a point where, you know what, you need to tell me exactly what it is.
He said, forget it. Because he was over it. He said, sis, open your mouth and talk.
Because how that came about is amazing things happen simultaneously. Because that's how I began with myself. I stopped assuming how I felt. I plainly say how I feel. I'm plain speaking. You know me, I'm plain speaking. Because I understand how miscommunication can happen. Because either you're trying to find the right words to say, or you don't want to hurt someone's feelings, or you're just trying to skirt around certain things. I stammer, I talk fast, I do a lot of speaking elements. I don't have time for that. So I need you to know this is how I feel. Because what makes a person, I'm grasping these feelings now. Because I didn't necessarily grow up with saying, I feel this way, you made me feel sad, you made me feel happy, I don't like this. No, it's like, shut up, you're a child, but this is this. So now as an adult, I'm saying, you know what, I don't like this situation. I don't like this situation. I rather address it now so it doesn't become an issue further on. So I taught myself that. I'm teaching her that. I'm teaching the kids that. Because I think that can preempt so much issues. Yeah. If we just nip these things in the bud from that first feel, you know what, babe, this don't feel right. Cool, this don't feel right. And one thing I always tell them, because I tell myself that, your feelings aren't right or wrong. Your feelings are your feelings. So don't ever feel like you need to justify how you feel about something. That's not fair. My thing is, if I feel insecure about something,
that's what it is.
If you make me feel a little about feeling insecure, that's not going to help. So I need to be able to be vulnerable, be naked, be one, because that's my flesh. This is how I feel. I don't like talking to this person. I don't like talking to that person. I don't like being in this situation. I don't like being in this house. I don't like being around X, Y, and Z. Say that, because that's where you get comfortable, and that's where the two continue to become one.
Okay, so Ashley says
PT.
I must use my powers for good, Nads. Why?
That's what probably. That's what.
Ashanti says, wow. Chico says T plus communication. That's a good man. It's good stuff right there.
But I would definitely say my wife definitely taught me the art of communication, because she verbalized how she feels.
So,
I didn't.
Practical applications for individuality. Mr. Pratt, if Terrence Pratt is ever watching, that's my English teacher, whom I love dearly. I'm Sophia Smith. Y'all, English is hard tonight. I don't know what's going on. So if we're looking at the practical applications of individuality versus oneness, what does that mean?
Yes.
So if you met her in the club,
shake it up, pom.
and you say, okay, so we together now. I need you to not go to the club anymore. That's not necessarily fair. So I'm not saying that, y'all have to be there all the time. What I'm saying is oneness versus individuality now, like, we got to come to compromise. This is why compromise is so big in marriage, right? Mm-hmm. Not just on the issues at hand, but the things that we want to do. Because she may want to go to the club because she loves to dance, and she loves the loud music, and she loves just being there. So many people, that gives her energy. That fills her up right now. It doesn't necessarily fill you up, but what you was doing when you found her in the club anyway.
Mm-hmm. Trying to fill your cup.
Yeah, you must like that flavor a little bit. So, yeah, so that's definitely something that y'all have to compromise on. So maybe once a quarter, y'all go for date night and y'all go in the club. Or you make sure that you take her dancing, or you go to concerts where there's loud music, so that her cup is filled. Okay. But what that means for her as well is that there's a compromise that, okay, I understand that my partner is making a sacrifice for me to help to concrete my or solidify my individuality. So I'm going to compromise to say, okay, sometimes I'm going to do the quiet things that he likes. I'm going to read the books, and we're going to just spend some time together, quiet time together for our date nights. And so that's a practical application. Renee said that's a no. What about the club, Renee? People like the club. I don't know who still goes to clubs, but I know it ain't me. But child, no, we're COVID.
And then what we tend to do in that scenario is we assume that they know. And we say, well, we assume that you married now, so you change your man. And well, that's unfair, because it's an unfair balance of the equation, because they don't know that that's your expectations. So they don't know that they're not meeting the expectations. What I was taught is that what we do when we get married is that we tend to have a box of expectations that we gift our partner. Yeah. But how we choose to gift them is we keep it to ourselves. And every time they set a line, we go back to that box and we look up and say, you know what? You're not fulfilling this expectation of what I expect a wife to be. Or you're not fulfilling that expectation of what I expect a husband to be. Mind you, you never gifted this person this thing. 1, 2, they never agreed to these terms. So
the
this
terms and agreements of the marriage.
And that's where the conflict is up. And that's where a lot of conflict arises, because we don't have that discussion prior. And say, this is what I expect from my husband. This is what I expect from my wife. And the thing is, why that's such a conflict, because when persons get married, there are two different people, which is already a conflict. They come from 2 different homes, 2 different upbringings, 2 different schools, 2 different churches, sometimes different countries. There's so many areas of conflict
that we're trying to marry into one.
So, and the thing is, something has to give. But what helps that, it doesn't eliminate it, but what helps the conflict to move along easy is to let the person know their expectations. You might be a guy who woke up every day and mommy's on breakfast ready. She might be a lady who woke up every day and mommy's at work. So she didn't see the need of breakfast is on the go for her, because that's just practical. Yeah. For you had time in the morning. So now you're getting up upset because you want to smell eggs in the morning. Did you even discuss with her that that's practical?
And you just walking past her, look at this woman who don't even know how to break an egg.
But she might be working like 20-hour shifts. You don't know the practical implications of it. So my thing is, that's where a lot of conflicts is happening. And that's where we lose ourselves as well too. Because now we're trying to be that thing or that level of expectation where we think our spouse wants. And our spouse didn't even let us know, because your mom probably could have cooked breakfast in the morning because she wasn't working until later. or she had time to get up. You know, there's different things, different expectations. And then maybe your wife doesn't want to cook. If she still has the right to not want to cook. If you get up early, bro, then you need to cook. Our rule was whoever reaches home first, starts cooking.
Whoever reached to the stove first, so...
That's so complex. I hear one guy say his wife was off, and he was home, and he waited till she come home to cook. I say, bro, she's working. You gotta cook for her.
The food done seasoned in the fridge.
He don't take the meat out of the fridge. I was like, bro, what if you get my dog and realize how infuriating it is?
Okay.
When we call and say, take the meat out of the freezer.
Take the meat out of the freezer.
As a child, never go when that's such a big deal. As an adult, I say, but you know how much time it costs me because you just gonna let the meat sit in the sink. And then it's gonna have to detour, like, you know how much time it costs me just now. So, it's things like that. So.
You caused me a flashback. Like that used to put a panic in me. Let them call and say, take the meat out of the freezer.
And then they call like 10 something, I never call it 10 something.
You know they get off at 4, they could be home by 5.
Make sure I put the meat in the sink, take out the freezer. They go around
2
1
or 3 o'clock. You remember mother said, I take the meat out of the
2
freezer.
or 3 better than me when they had a gate, clink, clink, clink. And you running it, trying to run a bottle water on that. So those things are important when we become one. No, it's just going about understanding who you are, understanding what your spouse is expected to be, and then having that conversation. So many things can be corrected and avoided with a conversation. Just have a conversation about it, and then pride is caution myself. But so many things, I like talking, so that's why I realized that conversation is important.
DeAndre's here laughing at us. I mean,
you see, Rafe.
I'm Alex. So our practical application. So yeah, when you have an opportunity, if you're dating somebody, if you're married, I think what would be very good, just thought of it on the fly, we'll probably do this when the podcast is over, is to sit down, get old school, you get a sheet of paper, I get a sheet of paper, and I write down what I would describe my personality as and what I enjoy doing. You write down what you describe your personality as and what you enjoy doing. And put a little line at the bottom of that. Describe each other's personality underneath that. Mm-hmm. Switch papers.
It's a newlywed game.
It would be like the newlywed game. So it's like you would learn so much about your spouse if you read what they think of themselves and what they enjoy doing. I'd be like, I didn't know you like painting.
No.
When since we never painted? You never asked me about painting.
No.
Oh, okay. But it's a good way to discover each other. Some things you'd be like, okay, I knew that, but maybe we can incorporate it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay? Because ultimately, if you can both appreciate who you are as individuals, you can compromise to make sure that, okay, for this situation, your personality should really shine. For this situation, maybe it'll come down a little bit. But at the end of the day, I want you to not stay in a state where you're decreased, mm-hmm. or stay in a state where like you're increased. But we have to find a balance throughout it. So we're always moving and making adjustments. Mm-hmm. But if it's working for us and we're working together, bam, that's oneness.
Yeah. And
look at that.
That's such a great explanation. Andrew said earlier in the conversation that marriage brings out certain things in people, and positive things that I could have you heard of, essentially talking about how marriage can bring it out. Why we want to bring that back up? I think that ties to
marriage reveals and enhances who you are to each other.
Marriage reveals and enhances who you are to each other.
That's what he said.
Why Andrew, to me, that's so profound. I think it did. Nadia was a more outgoing person, and in my opinion, she's a little the more outgoing person. And I was more the reserved person.
He was. Y'all can believe that? Could y'all believe this man did not like to talk?
I still, and what it was is that being around her revealed something in me, and then vice versa. So all it was, I don't think we necessarily took anything away, just we revealed things to each other. So when I realized being with her, it's not that I didn't like to talk, or I didn't like to be out. It's just the people who I was already didn't like being out with them. Or the places I was, I didn't like to be out. And I realized that being with her, so, I like being out, I like being around. So just, as I'm saying, enhance who I was. And vice versa now, she's a big speaker. And she's one to be arguing all shy and stuff. But she had speaking engagements. She had more speaking engagements this month. So it's good. So, but she's a big speaker now. But it was always we hear her presenting now. And this is just an element. I think this is an element. So all this, we give and take, and again, we be balance on each other and we become one. But at the end, you are who you are at your core. What I always would want for persons to, again, be practical, is that we accept people. What we tend to do is we see things in other persons, especially if you're already married, you want to change it. Certain things need to change, I agree, but certain things is who they are at their core. Accept it because that's what drew you to them.
Yes.
You have to, that's what it is. My thing is, if the person is a jovial person, and one thing I noticed too, and this is what we know as a marriage too, is when you have to dive deep. It's uncomfortable, you dive deep. When they see you be naked with your wife or your spouse, I mean, it's so profound, not just physically naked, be emotionally naked. The reason why, the person might be jovial all the time because they might be protecting some sort of hurt. Yeah. That might be why they're so jovial all the time, and then you might be there to help them get over that.
Like a distraction technique.
It's a distraction from the mask, the clown's mask, the tears of a clown. So it might be something that they need to get over. So it's not necessarily that they want to be happy all the time, it's that they just probably have some innate hurts and some issues that they just need to get over. Mm-hmm. They may not be like to be around large crowds because they have something traumatic happen to them. So that's where you have to be mindful of the person you're with. So you can't just say, well, you never want to take me to no. It might be the places you want to go.
Yeah. If I gotta run when I go to this place, I'm like, this is not a track event and I'm not signed up. Just say I don't know where I want to go. Yeah. But Ashanta says, God's design of the two become one is a beautiful mystery. It was a good mystery too because
that unfurls everything.
It took time for us to find it.
We still learning it. But if you go out from day one of marriage, and we're from what it be now.
Ray says I know him to talk. Listen, this one used to play so shy and so cute.
Yeah.
And so when he came out of his shell, I was like, oh, pack some of that back in. There's a lot happening. And but it was beautiful watching the process of him blossom though. And then in turn, I'm gonna make myself sound so mean in this. But he taught me how to be cordial.
amicable,
nicer to people, because for the persons who I automatically just my spirit, because that's the old people say my spirit take too, you would never know that I am not necessarily the warmest person to everyone. But for those who were outside of that, and it took you had to leave the car running, it took time for me to warm up to you. That was a hard process. So, but I learned that through him because, he's very engaging.
Yeah, and the thing is, what I had to teach us, see, you're friends, and we're friends, and these people aren't necessarily friends, I say I'm friendly, but they're not necessarily friends. I just believe in being polite.
I have to smile?
Yeah, my thing is why, again, you reciprocate behavior. I've been taught all through life. So I was taught, if you know me, if you know me, or if you know me for a long time, or just don't know me, I guess, I can be very aggressive. My countenance is very aggressive. So again, early though, deep voice, a lot of hair, they're not necessarily the most warm person you give me at times, especially because I had locks and stuff. So when I was in school, somebody did something, and then they mistakenly did something, and I mashed up my face, it hurt, and the person was legit afraid. And I was like, wait, why is the person so terrified? I don't want people to see me be terrified. And they thought something's gonna happen, so that when they clicked. And then the second thing, what doubled the lesson for me was that someone said, Ryan Aubrey, she's Aubrey. Sorry, your husband. Hannah, thank you, Uji. Sorry, Miss Hannah. Ryan Hannah, me Aubrey. When we were in school, I think grade 10 or 11, she said her dad taught her, that's why I always love Miss Aubrey. Her dad taught her to say, there is 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day. Why waste a second being inside?
Yeah.
Life is short. So I took that seriously. I said, I'm going to make the best of this time. I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm going to be smart. And at the end of the day, when people ask you how you doing, they don't really care. So my thing, I always be polite. Yeah. So I always be smart, be polite. I don't want to be that person, I said Mr. Grumpfish's long face person, come around.
But I grow up, if you met my parents, they're literally polar opposites of each other. So my dad's resting and continuous face unless he smiles is one of is very stoic. It's very serious. It's very intimidating. So me, that's typically my resting face, and I'm sure y'all have seen it during the broadcast. If looks could kill, I could slash you up. A serial killer over here. But I had to learn from Rodney that That's not necessary. And that's the good thing about individuality versus oneness. Like, you have this symbiosis where you learn from each other. You right. And then you keep that happening. And that's how you, as one, like, you know, become stronger. DeAndre said, I'm telling her story. Listen, Rustic Face is beautiful. He's smiling all the time.
Yeah, man.
And I have such a lovely smile, right? But
she does have a beautiful smile.
But
and the thing is, I didn't think
my cheeks start to hurt after a while. Like, it's a lot happening.
I met someone and said, why I went recently, I think this year, last year, when I was to work, I smile. It's when I say good morning. If I don't smile, I say good morning, because my thing is, I say good morning to everybody. So I say good morning, I slow down, I say good morning, and I say, why you smile at me? And I say good morning. You don't have to fake smile at me. Enjoy the rest of the day, mom. And I walked out, because my thing is, you clearly projected something on me. I've never met this woman before in my life. I don't know who she is. I just said good morning, because I was being polite to her. She didn't go offense to me, fake to her. So when I meet people like that, it's the garbage truck. People try to dump on you. I don't take it on.
Like, nope.
I husband did that, and I know, because my thing is, I got to buy this shoe. It's like, miss, you having a rough day, the fella don't call you back. I don't care. I really don't care what happens.
I mean, so, like, that's legit what happens. So you don't understand how much you project what's going on in your life onto somebody with your interactions with them. And some people, it takes a while for it to seep out. And some people is like, the first person who talked to me could catch it. No, sis, don't do that. Don't do that there.
And I don't like that, so I don't be like the people. So.
Ashanta says, let's focus. Opposites are healthy. It brings balance to the relationship. Rafe says, cool, brother. Chico says, only Rodney. And I am talking sense. Chico, you understand. Only Rodney would learn a profound life lesson from mashing his toe. Real talk.
If you want to learn, you can feel. And Chico, that's just, I think life is so beautiful. And I think the Lord talks to us in every aspect. I try to find His voice in everything. So for my hello question, I try to find the answer. So it could be a conversation with my lovely wife, a conversation with my beautiful kids, or just a random song on the radio. My thing is, us God talking. I know His infinite wisdom. I know He's everywhere. I know He cares about my smallest concerns. So whenever I have some sort of stuff, I just quietly listen. And that's the next thing. If you don't know me, one thing I do like to do is be by myself. I do like to be quiet. I do like to be by myself, because it's in those moments I listen. And it's like, even though I tend to be the loud person in the room, or the jovial person, the center of attention, why I do that is not because I need to be self-fulfilled in any way, you know. As I rather just sit to my desk and be quiet. I do that because I see that as a void. I was taught, I think from Miss Delicious, but I was taught that, this guy, you ought to be the light of the world. So when I say you be the light of the world, what that means is that whatever your world is, like, we are charged as Christians to be the light of the world, to be the salt of the earth. So whatever your world is, your circle of influence. We see something.
Sonia just joined in the podcast. We talked about y'all so good earlier.
Yeah, Sonia, boy, I love Sonia and their kids.
Right.
But yeah, I was taught to be the light of the world, and then what that means is you be the light of the world to everybody, not just who you're wrong, because you are blessed to be in certain places. So especially my places of employment. Anywhere I'm actually, God put you there. So I used to think, I used to be a particular job, and I used to think, why am I here? Like, why am I here, Lord? Why am I here? What did I do wrong? I teach nobody, like, why am I saying that?
I've had many of those moments.
So as soon as I had that thought, somebody just so happened to come and make desk. Rodney get answer the question, and I say, you know what? That's why I'm here. So I always say, no, God, I'm here to do your work. Yeah. This is tough, this is hard, but I'm here to do your work. And I got to a point that when I was leaving that place, I said, you know what? I'm not going to make a new conversation, because I'm not going to reset this corner. I said, I talked to everybody I'm supposed to talk to. I know nobody knew the new person working out. Hi, good day. Are you walking up? I didn't know what happened in your life. I'm not, because I was fed up. But we have to understand that we have no hands for hands. Yeah. And that's not just a part of me. That's a part of me that she could understand. It's just, not that I have to be that person for anybody. I got to be friends. Just, no, we legit just trying to be an advocate. Yeah. And that's just what it is. And again, I don't play these people coaching them. It's a conversation that keeps on moving. But people's people, and that's where I have such an awesome life. Where it balances off is that I might see myself as, you know, I'm being an arm of God's love, and someone else may say, you know, this fella trying to like me. This fella trying to do some foolishness. So she's like, you know, Rodney, he's up and not pull back and not this shit crazy, this dude ain't got no sense. So that's where it balances up, because we see it, and the thing is, why, and it's true why I believe in taking advice from people. Because if I did say no to her, when I was now on the bird's perch, and I can see things that she can't see, If I was being stubborn and this and that, then why would she listen to me? So it's because I could have said, listen to her and I say, you know what, this ain't necessarily the bad thing. This ain't not being whatever, her being this, her being that. It's just her being caring.
Yeah.
So now when I see it from her perspective, I say, but this dude doing this, this chick doing that, then she may, you know what, maybe that's true, maybe that's true. But that's maturity and that's growth. And that's understanding that we have each other's best interests in us.
We have each other's back. And so going back to individuality, but before we get there, and Dira says, beautiful, so proud of you guys. It's my good sister, yeah? But so 1 more hour, no break.
Happy birthday, Daddy. We was playing my daddy yesterday, and that was fun. That was long, so I thought I could hear this now. Oh my, we were tired. Everybody's out there. We were tired. My little brother cook. My younger brother cook. So he had a lot of food. He had a lot of laughs, and we were tired. We was tired, but sorry.
Individuality and oneness. So be yourselves. Yes. Be who you are. Be who that person who was
who they fell in love with,
who they fell in love with, you know, and that's just not physically. So I'm still here trying to lose that 20 pounds for next year for
I don't know. I love it.
the marriage rate, right? But in any event, be who that person was attracted to. Yeah. So be that fairest person, be that caring person, be that outgoing person. Know when it's appropriate, know when it's not. But understand that you're going to use your individuality to help to build your oneness.
Yeah.
Drop mic.
That's
honestly, like that's all it is.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So I mean, and we're just not talking from up high. We're honestly trying to actively do it. So we're gonna do that activity. List out our personalities and what it is that we enjoy doing. And what we think the other person's personality is. We're going to switch papers. We're going to learn a little bit more about each other. And hopefully, we'll let you know how it goes in the next 2 weeks. In the next 2 weeks, guys.
That's very, 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 very special day. It's gonna happen in the next 2 weeks. We're gonna be celebrating that day. The same way we celebrated my special. I'm not gonna come again. So especially my very special day, X 30 plus. We're gonna celebrate her special day. And how we gonna celebrate that special day? Her lovely day is gonna be on Mondays. We're gonna go out
December 14th, guys. That's my birthday. Mark it on your calendar. Set your alarms. Set up the fireworks. I want to hear the sirens. Pew, 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 pew.
So we're gonna celebrate that. How we celebrate my day. Gonna be a get to know Nadia day. We're gonna be giveaways. We had giveaways last time, so our sponsors to she doesn't know now, you know now. To each your ones one sponsor or gift. Rena's Boutiques on sponsor gift. Service Clubs on
Anybody else wants to sponsor a gift, you're very free to do so.
Jay's on listen, that's his fault. Jay's Fitness is gonna sponsor the gift. You should have listened.
Yeah, so ironlovepodcast@gmail.com if you're interested in getting your brand out there and you want to sponsor a gift on my birthday, you are very free to do so.
So we're gonna give gifts on her birthday, on behalf of her, we're gonna give you guys gifts.
Yes.
So that's how it's gonna work.
And there will be cake. You're not gonna have to make it.
No, you can't have it because social distance.
Even if you could have had it, I would have eaten it before you had it.
So if you want to have a cake and bring it so you can watch and we can eat virtually together.
Ooh, what do you call it? A mukbang?
Mukbang, yeah.
I will eat in front of y'all. Y'all get all the ice cream.
Birthday thing. You go watch it and we eat together virtually because of COVID principles happening. So we're definitely gonna do that. That's gonna be. You're gonna see some information about that. December 13th, I think it's going to be the next.
Which is the day before my birthday, December 14th. Yeah, so in conclusion, Chico says, excellent conclusion. Renee says, love it, Nadia. Renee says, be yourself. Yes, be yourself so that y'all could be one together.
In the words of a famous American, actually Canadian philosopher, Reed J. Graham, know yourself and know your worth. And that's very important. Know yourself and know your worth.
No, but you're probably not saying that seriously. Like,
he's a famed Canadian American philosopher. He's a famed Canadian American philosopher. He has a lot of profound things that he says. Know yourself and know your worth. That's very profound. I thought that was very profound. Know yourself. I have that made.
See, everything is a kiki, right?
Kiki in it.
Kiki. Ashanta says, beautiful guys. Always enjoy listening to both of you.
Thank
And
you.
Ashanta was there for the original presentation at the marriage ministry as well. So we appreciate your support.
Thank you so much,
So, and Renee says, absolutely. So to each and every one of you that were tuned in for the podcast, we appreciate you. That's it. It's been another episode of Our In Love Podcast. We thank you so much for tuning in. We've enjoyed having you with us.
Yes.
Special thanks to all of you that tuned in. We appreciate you guys. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and stream this episode on all streaming platforms. And so until next time.
It's been fun. It's been real. It's been real fun.
It's been real fun. I said, be all in the mind.